Hello fans of evil level Sudokus from whipsudoku.com. I copied the grid over to sudokuexchange.com as I usually do. Let's see what this one has got in store for us. The first thing that I see is that the 5-7 here and the 5-7 here will force a 5 and a 7 to go in these two cells. And that pretty much puts a 5 and a 7 in these two cells, doesn't it? And therefore these two must be a 2 and a 6. Having the 2 present in this row makes this a 6 and this a 2. The 4 here and here puts a 4 in this cell. And therefore we now know that one of these three cells must be a 4. This 8 and this 8 block these cells, making this an 8. And this 8 now and this 8. And the 8 here forces an 8 into this place. So a 5 and a 7 here makes this one here a 1 and a 6, doesn't it? And this particular cell is spoken for, and it has got to be a 9 because of these two 9s here. So we have a 1, 5, 6, and a 7 for 4 of these cells. The last digit is going to be a 3, so a 3 will have to go in one of these two cells, right? And because of we have this 3 up here and we have this 3 here blocking these cells, we know that this must be a 3. And these two 3s now in combination with this 3 puts a 3 here. We need a 1, 5, 6 and a 7 to complete the center row. There's a 1 and a 7 here, so this is going to be a 5 or a 6. This is a 5 or a 7. It's all very non-conclusive, so I'll let it simmer for a while. While I'm thinking about things, I'm noticing the 4 and 9 here will force a 4 and a 9 to go in two of these three cells. And I'm also looking at the 4 here, puts a 4 in one of these three cells. It's not very important right this instant, but it may be important later when I need to recall this from my short-term memory. One of these must be a 1 because of the 1 here, right? And we have a ghost 1 here, so also one of these two cells will have to be a 1. And that will put a 1 either here or here in column 5. This cell or this cell will have to be a 9 because we have a ghost 9 up here, so this cell can't be a 9, and nor can these two cells. And we have a 9 here, so one of these will have to be a 9. And one of these will have to be a 3 because there are no other cells in this column that can be a 3. This one and this one can't because of these two 3s, and this 3 also rule out a 3 from these two cells. So a 3 will have to go in one of these two cells. Because of the 4 and a 9 here, and we still need to find a 4 and a 9 for column 2, the 4 and a 9 must go in these two places, and there's a 4 already in this row, so this 9 must go here, and the 4 therefore must go here. So these have to be a 5 and a 6, and these have to be a 1 and a 7. A 6 must go in one of these two cells because this can't be a 6 and this has got to be a 1 or a 7. So this cell or this cell will have to be a 6. And we have yet another 4-9 pair, and they have to go in two of these three cells because of the 4 and a 9 here and the 4 and a 9 here. We need a 4 and a 9 for two of these three cells, don't we? The third digit could be a 2, but it's not certain at this point because the 2 blocks this cell. And we have a 2 blocking this cell, so a 2 could, in theory, also go in this cell. I'm finding this cell here to be quite restricted. When you are at loss for the next digit, it's a good idea to look at intersections between rows and columns with a lot of givens. And in this case, we have a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, 5, 6, 7, and an 8. They can all observe this cell, therefore it's got to be a 9. So these two now have to be a 3 and a 4. Remember how these have to be a 7 and a 5, right? So these are a 3 and a 4. And remember how this is supposed to be a 1 or a 6. So we got a 3, 4, 1, and a 6. 3, 4, 1, and a 6. That's 4 digits. We would still need to find another 3. Let's see what those could be. That's not a lot of help because a 6 could go in either of these two cells as well. But it's often worth looking at. I'm often tempted to look at rows with a few givens only because sometimes they can be very revealing. Because we have a lot of rows being populated, especially in the center chute here, these 3 boxes, 3, 4, and 6. And some of the digits are pretty restricted. Let's start with these 2 digits that are going to go here, or rather their potential candidates. This cell can be a 1, 6, and a 7 because it cannot be a 3 and it cannot be a 5. This cell here is also quite limited. It cannot be a 1 because of the ghost 1 here. It cannot be a 2. It could be a 3, but not a 4, 5. It could not be a 6 either because of the ghost 6 here. It could be a 7, but not an 8 or a 9. So we got a 1, 6, 7 here, and we've got a 3, 7 here. This cell is also very restricted. Even though we don't have a lot of digits in the rows and the columns here for this intersection, we have other restrictions, don't we? Because let's see, this could be a 1, but not a 2, not a 3, not a 4, not a 5, not a 6. It could be a 7, but not an 8 and a 9. So this is a 1 or a 7. Moving on, this cell here could be a 1, but not a 2. It could be a 3, but not a 4, not a 5, not a 6. It could be a 7, but not an 8 or a 9. So we've got a 1, 3, 7, 1, 7, and 3, 7. We've got a triple. These 3 cells here form a triple of 1, 3, and 7. So with a little bit of imagination and brain work, we now have 5 givens in this column, needing only 4 more. And that actually finds us a 6, because this cell here, let's recall what this cell could be. It could be a 1, it could be not a 2, not a 3, 4, and 5. It could be a 6 and a 7, but not an 8 and a 9. So this could be a 1, 6, and a 7. But since we have a triple here that encompass a 1, 3, and a 7 already, then this cell must be a 6. And that finds us this 5 here and the 6 here. Remember the 5 and the 6 pair that we were looking for over here? And this 5 now resolves the 5 and a 7 we had here. This is now a 7 and this is a 5. This 5 and this 5 now makes this a 5. And we only need to find now this one here, which is, of course, pretty easy. These two cells have now to be a 3 and a 7, and the 7 here puts a 7 here, and this is 3. Remember how we found out earlier that one of these cells must be a 3? Let's recall the reason. This cell and this cell are all blocked by these two 3s. So one of these will have to be a 3. And in combination with this 3 now, we know that one of these 3 cells will have to be a 3. And the only cell that is not blocked by a 3 is this one here. And we remember, of course, how these 3 cells were a triple, 1, 3, 7. 3 is now spoken for, so is a 7, therefore this must be a 1. This 1 and this 1 and the 1 up here puts a 1 in this cell like so, and a 1 over here, of course, and a 1 here, and this is now a 7. That makes this a 7. And these two have to be a 4 and a 9, remember? We still haven't found a solution for those. Let's look at this row here now, 3, 4, and an 8. Well, there's an 8 here, blocking this cell. There's an 8 here, blocking this cell. So this is an 8. Now this is a 3, 4, and this is a 3, 4, except it can't be a 4, of course, due to this 4 here. So this is a 3, this is a 4, and now this must be a 3. These two still have to be a 5 and a 7. A 4 and a 9 for this cell and for this cell. Let's see. These two have to be an 8 and a 6. There's an 8 in this row. So this is a 6 and this is an 8. Now we got this 6 and this 6 blocking these two cells, and we got this 6 blocking this cell, making this a 6. A 2, 4, and a 9 still for these 3 cells. 4 can't go here, so it must go up here somewhere. And with a ghost 4 here and a 4 here, that makes this a 4. And the last cell in the corner must therefore be a 9, making this a 9 as well, and this 2. These two cells now have to be well, this was a 9, 4, wasn't it? Therefore, this must be a 4. And this must be a 2, making one of these a 2. These are still a 1 and a 6. They're very persistent, aren't they? But I'm sure that I'll find them at some point. These two cells now have to be a 5 and a 4. The 4 here puts a 4 here and a 5 here. 2 and 7 for these two. There's a 7 here, making this a 2, and this is 7. And therefore, this 2 and this 2 puts a 2 here or here, but this cell cannot be a 2 due to the 2 up here in the column, so the 2 must go here. 5 and an 8 for these two cells. There's an 8 in this box already, so the 5 therefore goes here and the 8 here. And finally, we can input a 5 here and a 7 here. These two now have to be a 6 and a 5. There's a 5 in the row, so the 5 must go here and the 6 here, making this a 6. And now finally this a 6 and this is a 1, making this a 1, and this must be a 7. That was a little tough. And we were lucky we found the triple, I think, in column 6. Otherwise, I don't quite know the way forward on this one. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did and that you will come back for more soon. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.